Good morning. Happy brunch. Happy brunch, everyone. Hi. Welcome to brunch. Welcome to brunch. All right, let's do it. Let's do it. Facebook. Hello, Facebook. Hello, X. Hello, YouTube. Hi, everybody. I'm doing like streams on 3 platforms right now. 3 platforms. Oh my goodness. How is the tribe doing? How is the tribe? Everybody okay? How is the weather in Wonderland? How are you guys holding up with the weather? Everybody okay? Yes, no, maybe. It's, we've had a mild winter in Portland, Oregon. For those of you who are on the Pacific Northwest, you know what I'm talking about. But I also am aware of the fact that we get later winters here. Like we have snowstorms in April. It's not uncommon. So I'm always planting in February, then things die, then I replant in April. And it's happened every year. That April snowstorm, it comes at, and I always think we're going to miss it this year. We're going to miss it this year. It's just going to be a great spring. And then this cold front comes in and kills everything. So it is what it is. Oh, you can't see it? Oh. All right. This thing gets dehydrated all the time. Constantly needs water. It drinks a lot of water. Can you see it now? Not over here. The things I do to make the children happy. All right, I think that should do it. All right, there we are. Okay, awesome. Well, how is everybody? Hi, Wise Woman. Hi, Carol. Kathy Higgins, hello. Nellie Rivers, hello. Nisi T, hello. And 5808. Thank you, everyone who's here. Be sure and subscribe and like all that good stuff before we get started. There's a lot going on in the news. Who here is kind of burnt out on the news? I guess that would be my first question to all of you is, do you feel like we have focused too much on the news on the Sunday brunch and you would all like to talk about other things besides the news? It is our brunch after all. And some of you, as you're picking at your Waldorf salads, may find the concept of the orange buffoon in the White House does not help digest your breakfast. So, yeah, what you eating? What you drinking? What is everybody eating and drinking? Yeah, be sure and mention that. All right, let's see. I'm just getting everything organized here for us so that we have the stream ready to go. And we are raising money for senior dogs this month. We are raising money for senior dogs. And once that ends, we can start another. I think we're probably going to do some civil rights stuff after that, after we finish with this, because it is February. So we want to start doing the fundraisers for human rights. In fact, do you guys want me to continue with the senior dog, or do you want to go with Center for Policing again? Something like that. We'll keep it. Yeah, we'll keep it. Okay, so this week it's going to be senior dogs, and then next week we will we will start the fundraiser with like Center for Policing. What is it called? Okay, let's get organized. So, how are you all feeling? How is the weather in Toronto? You're making chicken and mushroom in a tomato sauce while listening to your live. Well, dang, girl, that sounds absolutely delicious. I made chicken and rice with peas and carrots, which is the most boring thing in the world and is what all of us regular people grew up. Everybody here has had chicken, peas, rice, and carrots, right? It's like you go to Spain, Guatemala, America, the Middle East, and you're going to have chicken, rice, and carrots, right? Go to China, Japan, you get chicken, rice, chicken, rice, chicken, rice. It's the universal food, right? Whether if I'm in Japan, China, I can get chicken and rice. If I'm in Israel, chicken and rice. If I'm in Dubai or the Middle East, chicken and rice. Throw in some vegetables, right? Chicken and rice. So I've been eating that for 3 days. And now I'm just like, I made something boring and now I'm bored. Every Friday night on Shabbat, if you're Israeli, chicken and rice. That's always that's the meal we have on Friday night for Shabbat is chicken and rice. Chicken, rice, tahini, salads, soup. That's Shabbat dinner in Israel. All right. So listen, you guys. Oh, hi, Nancy, Marilyn, Joe, and Debbie, Joe Bruce, all of you coming over in Facebook. Great to see you here. Kentucky is overcast. Interesting. Michigan, 43. Yeah, you guys are finally coming out of that. But I think another cold spell is coming because I don't think we're done with this. Let's take a look at the weather. I'm always curious about DC. You know, the weather in DC in the next 10 days. No, it looks like it's finally warming up. Maybe we finally came out of that horror that was the, it looks like it's going to be 59 degrees. It's like a spring day on Tuesday in DC. That'll be nice. Oh my goodness. Yeah. So maybe you guys are finally coming out of it. That would be good because we had that. Oh, hi, Kirsten. Hi, Sue. Having that, hi, Carmen. Wow, a lot of people coming over from Facebook. Minnesota's in the house. New Jersey in the house. So what do you guys like to have for brunch? This is our brunch table. We extend it to the four corners of the earth. We have thousands of people that come to our brunch table, and we've been hosting this brunch table for over 6 years, I think, since we were over at the other apartment in Los Angeles. I used to live in West Hollywood. So then I moved, but we kept the brunch tradition going. And we always give people a little bit of the meditations, messages from spirit. We do a collective reading for everybody so that you can all connect with spirit that way. And then we blitz away, which is a quick 3 to 5 minute readings based on current events. Unfortunately, there's no personal readings offered on Sundays. However, Chuck and I are going to Europe in April, and we need to do a fundraiser to pay for it. And we're going to be going to sacred sites in France and recording our channeled messages. I think we're going to try and get into the catacombs. I know some of you had requested the catacombs or any sacred sites in France. We'll be in Paris and then probably Nice. It'll be a 2-week vacation. So he and I will probably do a personal readings fundraiser, and I think he's going to be auctioning off some of his paintings for those of you who were interested in purchasing some Chuck Dransfield paintings. He might also auction off a portrait, so doing someone's portrait. So if you have a photograph of your family and you'd like it to be converted into a Chuck Dransfield portrait, I predict that, it's kind of a morbid thing to think about, but I predict that when the day comes that our great Chuck leaves the earth, his stuff will be worth quite a bit of money, because I think a lot. I think he's one of those artists that he started to have collectors, right? So it's a nice thing to invest in if you want to invest in art, is support Chuck's work, and maybe he will auction off, offering to do portraits for people. And so that will be how we raise our money for the trip. And it'll be part vacation and part work, because we're going to be shooting a lot on location, and doing lives from Europe and visiting places per your request. Trying the food at the L'Orange Museum or whatever. We can do all of those things. Whatever. If you can't do it yourself, we will do it for you. Yeah, so it'll be fun. I'm thinking mid-April. We should be there around mid-April. It's going to be expensive because we're having separate hotels. I do not want to share a hotel with a man. I know, be modern, but also snoring. I have a feeling that Chuck snores. He's going to have his own room. God bless you. We can meet at breakfast. You know what I'm saying? Uh-huh. Yeah, you're 50 miles from Nancy Guthrie. No news on the case. Yeah, so we can talk a little bit about Nancy Guthrie and some remote views. So I want to talk a little bit about who I am, because I think people get a little confused about who I am. And I'm sorry, I misspelled that. I misspelled it. Guthrie. I put an extra R. Guthrie. So there are meditation techniques that Vipassana Buddhism, Vajrayana Buddhism, some of the Theravedic tradition, certainly Vajrayana Buddhism, where one of the ways we can cultivate empathy is that we meditate on a particular individual, and we try to the best of our ability through love and compassion to become them, to put ourselves in the shoes of that individual. And this technique has been used in warfare. For example, if we look at Mahakali, who conquered Tibet, the Mongolians, they worship Mahakali, right? So they would do remote viewing. They would they would have their Buddhist monks, their various different monks, their shamans. It predates Buddhism, but they would have the shamans chant and pray with love and empathy to understand the opponent. How would I feel if it were my country, if I were sitting in the driver's seat, not observing the driver, because we know your observation. We all know how you view the world. We know Annie Gifts knows how Annie Gifts view the world, Mary Daughter, right? But what we're trying to do with heart-centered remote viewing, which is the secular version of Vajrayana. All right. So HCRV, heart-centered remote viewing, is a secular way of teaching the techniques of Vajrayana Buddhism's empathy and putting yourself in the shoes of another person in a secular context. So we can pray, we can meditate, and really listen to what this individual is saying, to such an extent that we really find ourselves in the same mental plane and emotional plane as the person that we are listening to. And then we take on the body of that thing during phase 4. There are 5 steps to HCRV, but in the 4th step, there's a kind of fusion that happens where I am so connected with that individual that I completely see their way of viewing things. Now, my first vision was a teenager or a guy in his 20s. I was looking up the hill at new construction in what is now Nancy Guthrie's area. I don't know if I was on a bike. I don't know what kind of vehicle. I think I was a white guy. And I think I was taller than the guy that's being seen in that film footage. So I want to say that the person I saw looked different. And he was looking up the hill at some construction. So that was the first vision I had me as the person somehow connected with this case. So what I felt in that split second as that person was that I was a troublemaker, that I came from a troubled family, that I had a history of being in trouble, that my family was a family of troublemakers, and that we were local, that we came from there. So every town, we all went to grade school, and we remember the kid that wasn't quite right. You know, maybe he'd been bounced around foster care, or his dad beat him up, or his mom left, or that troubled teen kind of energy. So this was somebody who there's always something going on at that house. You know, the cops always showing up because there's drugs, or there was so-and-so got busted for a meth lab, or it had that kind of Tucson troublemakers. So you have certain people. I've never been to Tucson, by the way. Or have I? I can't remember. I flew into some area and out, but the point is that I felt like I had grown up there. I felt that I knew the area very, very well because I had too much time on my hands. So people who are always getting into trouble, it's kind of like what we've heard from our spirit guide, Miss Mabel. They're not about their business. Why are you out here on your bicycle driving around all this new construction, picking up things, stealing things that the construction workers left behind, maybe, right? That kind of troublemaker. Why? Because you're not about your business, right? So you're off making trouble. So it's that kind of a kid that you're looking at and you're thinking, oh, he's making trouble. Why are you hanging out here? Do you have a job to go to? Do you have a high school? Do you have homework to do? If a kid drops out, he's got time. He's got time to drive his bike around, right? And to look for trouble to get into, stealing, robbing, making meth. There's a huge meth problem still I found because I started Googling after I had the vision. So there was some possibility that it was cartel related. People thought it was cartel, that the cartel had kidnapped her and then they had taken her over the border. When I was standing there looking up the hill, maybe on my bike or whatever, checking out the new construction, going back and telling my people about new construction, or hey, those guys left a ladder, let's take the ladder. Oh, they left the saw, let's take the saw. Let's take the electrics and the appliance to everything else. We're going to take everything else and just steal it because the workers left it. They left it for us, right? Maybe we'll light some fires while we're at it, right? Troublemakers. So it looked like that to me. It didn't look like it was some foreign government, the cartel. Now, when I did the technique HCRV, heart-centered remote viewing, and I tried to be one with the cartel on the border, I made contact with an individual who said, it wasn't us. The cartel wasn't involved with this. Could you please explain to me, from my perspective, I'm looking out like I am now that person. I am now the cartel. So what do I have to say to you as the cartel, right? I put myself in the shoes of the other person. And what I said was, we operate in certain zones. And the cops and the FBI and the police and they all know which zones we operate in. There are some red hot zones. You don't go into my frickin' territory because that area is owned by gangs, by that area, right? So you're not going to go into that area. And from what they said, this area of Tucson was not under their governance. So what happened, according to the cartel, is that FBI informants that work with the cartel, people that are with the FBI, contacted their informants and said, any news on the street about Nancy? Have you heard anything? And you heard it? Yeah, it's not us. This is outside of our zone. we can't control for that area. We would never go that deep into that zone because it's outside of our perimeter, and take risk like that with our men to go into an area like that unprotected with such a high profile case outside of our zone. So it's not the cartel. It's not us. Well, do you know who it is? Can you give us any information at all? So what I learned from that remote was, whoa, you guys talk to each other? I'm so freaking naive. I didn't know the FBI and the cartel were communicating. Yeah, we talk. Sometimes we actually court. If one of our people pisses us off or goes rogue, sure, we'll tell the FBI where they are. Take them out. I'm like, whoa. When I remote view, I learned the most fascinating things about people. This is not my world. It's like when I did a remote view as Putin. I wanted to know. I sent love and empathy. Anybody can do Vajrayana Buddhism. We broke it down to 5 phases. We teach it on Sunday, 5:00 tonight. Please join us. So it's just like when I put myself in Putin, I saw trade routes. And I saw the lights of Moscow was going to shine on the entire world, and I was going to build these trade routes. And the West has destroyed my country with this damn breaking of the USSR. And I don't believe in all that socialist crap. I'm an Ayn Rand person. I'm a libertarian, and I'm creating other libertarians all over the world, and I'm making allies with other libertarians. And I'm trying to expand my trade and not buying into all this BS about how it was supposed to be good for us when you destroyed my country. How would you like it if all 50 states were to become independent countries? You destroyed my country. Damn freaking right. We're trying to unify our states again after what you... So I was able to put myself in that person's shoes and realize that it was about trade routes, obstruction of trade, dismantling of his country, and that I was going to send the true church to the rest of the world, a church that was going to hail me as the new czar of Russia. We were going to go back to the old ways, church and country, with me as the new czar. So my whole world, like, that went on for a couple of months where I was in the shoes of Putin, and people thought that I was a Putin's puppet because I kept saying, the wonderful things that we have done for Mongolia. Do you know, before the Soviet Union went into Mongolia, what we did for the Mongolian people? They had a lot of malnutrition. Babies were not getting vaccinated. The illiteracy rate was quite high, but we brought in food and education, roads and sanitation. You think that it was so great in Mongolia before the USSR went in? We did some very great things for the people of Mongolia. So yeah, that's remote viewing, and it's really, really cute, really cool. It's really, really cool. So do I think that they're connected to the Bitcoin thing? Probably yes. Yeah, probably yes. Punks who are going to get in trouble, who didn't think it through, that watched a lot of TV, that's heard about it, that were always in trouble for one thing or another. And then they got their stupid costume on Target and decided that he was going to put his gun in the front so that to scare her. And the next thing you know, they wind up in a situation. They go to her house and she starts fighting, which they didn't expect. She starts throwing things at them, screaming. One guy in the back, another guy in the front, at least 3 people, because there's also a driver. So in the shuffle, while she's throwing things, she accidentally hits herself on the nose. Now she's bleeding. Now she's fine. Now they're dragging her out. She's bleeding from the nose. This is what I felt. They didn't think that old lady was going to put up a fight. So now it's like, well, we didn't sign up for this. The other thing that I felt when I went into this energy, local, not the cartel, living in a fantasy world, probably are related to the contacts, the Bitcoin contacts, young punks, previously involved with crime in the area. So the cops might have a rough idea which family's involved. And there's a division starting to happen in the people that were involved. And that is why one of them is saying, I need my freedom. I need 50K to get the hell out of here and I think they might be loosely connected to possible meth labs or some other previous petty crimes that were going on in the Tucson area. If the guy in the front turns out to be Latino, that's interesting because that actually wasn't the main guy I saw. So it could be white guys and Latino guys working together. I know other readers have felt like it was a hit job, like that one theory is that it was supposed to look like a robbery, but they were really supposed to remove her, kill her, and then somebody hires to kill her so that they can inherit the money, right? So if she has a $6 million home or whatever, and but that makes no sense either, because if she's 83, how much longer can she live? So what would be the point? Unless you were really desperate. So it felt to me like it was an opportunity, and I didn't think it was necessarily related. I didn't feel at the time of the remote that I was connected to the Savannah Guthrie family. I didn't feel like I was connected to the cartel. I felt like I was a local punk. Let's see if I got it right or got it wrong, or if I did a projection. Sometimes I get things wrong. I want to be very careful about what I'm watching on TV and all these other theories that people have, that the son-in-law and this and that, because it can influence a remote. And I kept going back to the remote. Okay, why do I want to do this? And I kept going back to looking up the hill and seeing construction. And hey, they're doing and I was checking to see if they leave anything behind that I can steal. And then I was like, well, why would I be doing that? Because I'm a punk. I'm a local punk, and this is the crap I do. Well, what other crap do you do? We do all kinds of crap. We sell drugs. We steal shit. We've broken in before. So-and-so broke in, didn't he? Oh, yeah, he went to jail. Then I started having conversations about it. What happened to him? Oh, he got busted. Really? Did they ever find that guy? I heard Troy was involved. Well, what about him? Yeah, he got involved. So then that sort of thing started to happen. And then you document the conversations you start to have as the person. You start to think, well, why would I go up there? Well, I saw the construction happening. Could I be involved somehow in construction with one, possibly, or delivery? If I'm a delivery person, then that would explain why I might have a bicycle. I'm delivering, I'm dropping off pizzas, and I'm seeing construction, right? So anyway, that's all I have. No, not Tucson. I've been to Phoenix. All right, so that's all I had on that. That's all I had. But hopefully it gave you some clarity. Oh, yeah, there were some kids in California that went to prison for kidnapping somebody and trying to get money in Bitcoin. Yeah. So these were some kids that probably found out about it. We're going to try that. Yeah, let's try that. We as Okies from Muskogee, yeah, in Arizona. Yeehaw! Getting in trouble again. Always getting in trouble. That's who I was. All right, let's do the empath prayer. If you would like to receive a healing at this time, please give us your name and the name of those you want us to pray for, and we'll include them in our prayers today. I also want to give a shout out to Kat Cook, who wrote Rainbow Weather. Kat Cook wrote Rainbow Weather, Stories from Beautiful Nowhere. She will be in our studios on Tuesday answering all your questions about beautiful Cork, West Ireland, and the magical stories and experiences that she had along the way. Great short stories to read as you lounge throughout your day, and maybe before going to bed at night, you can enjoy a couple of great short stories from beautiful Ireland, written by the amazing Kat Cook. Yes, so she'll be in our studios on Tuesday. We look forward to that interview. Okay, without further ado, we're going to go ahead and do the empath's prayer. Then we'll go ahead and give you a collective. And then afterwards, we will blitz away. You know, my feedback, about all of that, was I surprised, or, people, she was carried off to Mexico. It made me realize that most crimes are committed by people that we deal with on a daily basis, that it's usually people within a very small pool of interactions, the people that are most likely to have access to us, and not being whisked away by some foreign gang on the border that pops up 70 miles outside of its what it considers its jurisdiction to kidnap, and then doesn't in an area it can't secure. It didn't make sense with the remote. Yeah. Okay. Okay. I want to call on white light protection for myself and this community as we ask permission from Spirit to access the Akashic records. We call on our spirit guides and our good angels to be with us. Please give us the clarity and the wisdom that is needed to empower all of us on our journeys, to make the best decisions for ourselves, our families, the planet, the people we love, but also to help those that we may have strife with. And together, collectively as a community, we say, Amen. And for those of you who are requesting a healing today, we come together at this time and we pray. We pray that you and those you love receive a perfect healing in mind, body, and in spirit. And together again, collectively, we say, Amen, Amen, Amen. May all souls be healed. May all souls be healed. I feel also when I go into this with Nancy Guthrie that they may be close, the police, and that they may have intentionally released someone they suspect is the suspect. That if they tell the person, don't leave town, we may come and talk to you again. And they may do that. It's like tag and release. So it could be that they spoke to certain people, held certain people, and then, okay, you can go now. But they're monitoring the movements, they're monitoring the conversations to see what happens next, because the next thing he's going to do after being released is he's going to call, listen, you guys, you got to get rid of the body. You got to do it now, right? So it could be a situation, or it feels like when you go into it, that the police could potentially be releasing somebody peripherally associated so that they go then and make a call, or they go drive their car somewhere, or they are closely monitoring the activities of certain individuals. Yeah. It's like showing up at a house 2 miles away, or the fact that a guy was trying to break in, looked like they were trying to break in 2 miles away. These are local punks. All right. Let's get you a reading. All right. So this is a collective reading for the week, and it applies to you. Take what applies to you, and what doesn't apply to you, you can go ahead and release it down the table. This is a collective consciousness, like Carl Jung. We come together as a collective and take what applies to you, and what doesn't apply to you, you can simply pass down to the next person. Thank you for being here. Not all of us like fried chicken, though I've never met such a person. All right. Best fried chicken at a fast food restaurant is the question before the reading gets started that you guys can contemplate. Is it Chick-fil-A? Is it KFC? Is it Popeyes? Is it that Filipino named place? Is it, what's the name of that Filipino place? And then there's that Chicken Fingers place. I can't remember the name. All right. If you know of a fast food place that does the best fried chicken, let me know because I'm always looking for great fried chicken. All right. Listen, where we are at right now, the nation is in a place of stress. I think it's been very hard for many of us to come to terms with the fact that so many people have chosen to use their power in such a terrible way. You think about all of the children that suffered and went missing. You think about the Sasha Riley Barrows. Sometimes he's called Sasha Barrows. Sometimes he's called Sasha Riley. But I think Barrows was his birth name, and then the Rileys adopted him. So now he likes to go by Barrows. But you listen to those stories and you can't help but be heartbroken when you think, wow, that's what you did with your power. You wanted to know what it was like to kill somebody and get away with it. So you killed somebody. You hurt a child. I think it's more pain than many of us can bear. We want to believe that those who have the most power have chosen the most good. And I think that would be our message to the world. And it's a message to all of us. The spiritual message for all of us is, what have you done with your power? I have no control over what Donald Trump does with his power other than voting, right? And telling other people to vote. But all of us have some measure of power. We've hired somebody maybe to clean our apartment, or we've asked the waitress, we've ordered food at a restaurant, right? So all of those are interactions with other people that involve a power exchange, right? Where you have the power. You have the power to determine whether you're going to give her a tip, 10%, 20%, whether you're going to be an asshole and send the food back. Those are all examples where we get to experience power, right? It's like that movie about the hotel. What was it called? Hotel Bombay, or what was it called? No, it wasn't. It was called Hotel something, where these senior citizens couldn't afford to retire in England on a pension, so they had to move to a hotel for seniors in India, right? And they were discarded. Many of them were service people who had been discarded, right? They couldn't be a maid or a babysitter anymore. So they got discarded and sent off to Hotel Marigold, right? And one of them, the person that is cleaning and taking care of her, is an untouchable, right? Somebody who must not be touched, right? The South Indian tribes fell to the Iranians, the Persians, right? The Persians that came in. The Fair tribes came in, right? And so the poor Southerners became subjugated, and they became the untouchables, right? But if you're working in the field, your skin gets darker, right? So it was status. If you work indoors, you're not going to have dark skin. So the stigma was not about race. It was about labor. It was labor related. Y'all know that? So a person that works outdoors a lot tends to be darker than a person who's sitting in the castle, taking care of the madam or whatever. So one of the characters, Judi Dench, doesn't want the untouchable to, don't touch me. I am a white woman from Britain, and I can read and write, and I've got the blah, 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 blah. And she doesn't want this untouchable to touch her. Right. So now she gets to be the aristocrat because she's got a pension of 1,200 pounds a month, right? So, when you go into this energy of Nine of Swords, we are tormented by the realization of just how horrible human beings can be at this time. And so I think it calls all of us to really meditate on our misuse of power. For example, I was terrible to the first violin teacher I ever had. I got frustrated with the violin. I yelled and stomped. The violin teacher fired me. I misused my power as the student. I was paying, so I felt like I could be a little bit of a brat. Well, you can't be a little bit of a brat. She's the master. She's been playing the violin for nearly 40 years. She is the master. You are the student. Humble yourself, child, right? So I learned a tough lesson about power. I'm sorry you're frustrated about learning the violin, Whimsy, but don't take it out on this good person who's trying to help you and really is giving you a pretty good price considering, right? So the Nine of Swords, I think, meditate on power right now. That would be my advice. How have you misused it? How do you interact with people who are at your mercy, financially, emotionally? Have you always been a good girlfriend? Really? Never cheated once, never kissed another boy, even in high school? I know I have. So take responsibility. Be kind to those of us who are vulnerable. Put yourself in their shoes. Never misuse. Never think you're better than anyone else. It's just about vulnerability. Sometimes we're vulnerable. Sometimes we're not. Right now, I'm not vulnerable and I can afford to pay my rent. But that won't be the truth when I'm maybe 90 years old and dying and at the mercy of people in hospice care, right? So we all go through periods in our lives where we have power. Like right now, I have power because I can pay my rent. Thank God. But that might not be the case tomorrow. Justice, service, take responsibility for all your interactions so that, because each of us has a choice, maybe nothing as, we don't have the extreme wealth of somebody like Epstein or Trump. So we don't get to have those kinds of extreme choices, but within the context of the choices we do have to be decent, have we exercised that in every opportunity when we have had the power? So that is, start with yourself. Keep your own house in order. Show people respect. Ask for forgiveness or apologize and make amends if you screw up. I do that here all the time. It's good for you. It's good for me. It's good for us, right? To humble ourselves and say we're sorry, right? So the Nine of Swords, there's just this tremendous stress I feel energetically over the nation and the horror stories that, yes, this is precisely what human beings do when we have power over another human being. We're cruel and we do terrible things to one another. And the healing begins when we all look in the mirror and say, was I rude to my baby sister, my baby brother? Oh God, I was. How have I exercised power in ways that are harmful to others? How can I use this as a teaching lesson to improve my own character? The karma card is that justice is coming. Justice is coming. But the deeper spiritual lesson is, how have you abused power? How have I abused power? And how can we all use this opportunity to pray sincerely that we never take advantage of a vulnerable person when we have the power? Because it sure is tempting when everyone's throwing themselves at you. You look at this old film footage of Trump, all these women that think that the fantasy is real, right? They think that he's going to run off and marry them and take them to Mar-a-Lago, and they don't know what's behind the curtain, right? So when you have that kind of power, you can do a lot of damage. So we have justice coming at a time that's stressing us out a lot, a time of self-reflection about issues regarding power. 8 of Swords can be red tape. I know many of us are doing our taxes right now, and that's not fun. Anybody here not want to do their taxes? Yeah, exactly. So it can be when you're feeling overwhelmed or claustrophobic, like I know I got to get out more, right? Yeah, I got to find the best fried chicken. I've been getting it, QFC, Ralph's, Safeway. I think it's all the same company, right? They produce it's, maybe I should try KFC. I haven't had KFC in a while. All right. So, independent. I don't know why I'm thinking about fried chicken. Probably because we were talking about smorgasbords, and I started thinking about Miss Wilkes boarding house in Savannah, where they have amazing fried chicken. Okay, so take it slow. Slow and steady wins the race, you guys. Popeyes, okay. Pick where I have lunch today. Fried drumsticks for dinner. Oh yeah, okay. Love it. I'm coming to your house. Knight of Pentacles is really saying that now is the time for us to do what we can to kind of balance ourselves. Knight of Pentacles is about grounding, it's financial stability, it's about taking care of your own restrictions. Look for allies and friends where you can. Remember that no one has a license to abuse you, and you're under no obligation to be abused by anyone. And furthermore, Buddhism would say it's a violation of the natural order, and you must remove yourself from that person's presence. Goes back to power, right? When somebody has used their power over you and now you get kicked around because, well, it's my older sister and she always does that. But, it's my older sister, so she gets to tell me she thinks I'm an idiot, right? Or, that she, whatever or it's a parent or whoever it is, could be the ending of any kind of relationship that is abusive. And it doesn't necessarily even mean this is a bad person. Sometimes we wind up in really weird dynamics with people, and they may be a great person who really cares about the world, but for whatever reason, it's just oil and water. It's just not going to work. And so think about also whether or not you're in an environment that's conducive to your health. You know what I mean? So Two of Wands is about reassessing your partnerships, endings and changes, stay grounded, particularly partnerships that could be costing you financially. I'm seeing many of you working on independent projects to come out of financial constraint. Learn to use AI to help you in your work, by the way. I don't see jobs ending, but jobs changing due to AI, and AI will give birth to an increase in 20% new jobs related to AI. So this is the other message that Spirit wanted to say about artificial intelligence. A lot of people felt like home computers were going to destroy the world, that home computers, that nobody was going to go to work, that life was going to end, that jobs were going to end because of home computers. But the opposite happened. Home computers created millions and millions and millions and millions and millions and millions of jobs. From the people that have to sell them to the people that have to repair them, to the people that develop them, right? Administration, everybody, to allow Microsoft to happen, and Dell, and MacBooks, Apple, all of that stuff takes employees. So what happens when you have a new technology is you have new work, and with new work comes new jobs and new job opportunities. So I don't see a loss. I don't see AI taking away jobs. I see AI creating a new way of doing things and new jobs, just like home computers did. We're working more than ever. It's just that the nature of our work has changed. Ooh, faux sounds You know what, Anne? I think I might go do faux. Oh, you guys, faux. Where's there some good faux in Portland, Oregon? And I'm liking that. Yeah, I want to get out today. Go do a walk and maybe treat myself to some lunch. I was thinking of going and getting myself a couple pieces of fried chicken from like KFC or someplace like that. But this, I don't know, maybe guys want to recommend. I'm going to go for a walk and maybe take myself to lunch. If you guys have recommendations, I don't eat red meat usually. It's just sometimes, but listen, you guys. So 2 of Wands, 5 of Swords, taking the weapons away, a war away from issues regarding difficulties in relationships that keep you tied or held up. Particularly if it's so. Another way of looking at it, if you have a relationship with a company, you're paying $50 a month for a service and the service isn't working, then this would be an example. Take the weapons of war away, ending a situation that caused you to be contracted in a partnership. So that's what you're working on. You're working on assessing any relationships that are costing you emotionally, physically, and financially. It's harsh. Because it's harsh when you end relationships, particularly with biological family. It's like, wow, I'm really going to have to end a relationship that I've had for 50 years in some cases. But if it's 50 years of abuse and it's physically making you sick, then yeah. All right, where you're at right now is the Queen of Wands. We've talked a lot about this card. Historically, it has many incarnations. And we've talked a lot about the goddess Oshun. And I want to just remind everyone about the goddess of Oshun because we are now entering into the time of the goddess of Oshun. Right? We're entering into the time of the goddess of Oshun. And we're going to talk a little bit about that. Her birthday's in February, I believe. Let me make sure I know her birthday. Oshun's birthday. Oh, September 8th. I thought it was February. My apologies. It could be Our Lady of, it's the Our Lady of the whatever who's in February. That makes sense. It would be fall, right? Okay, so let's look at some images of Oshun. These are the first images we have of the goddess in the yellow. It's kind of like a yellow-orange dress that they use. But here's a nice image of her. You can see her over here in all of her glory. Isn't that pretty? Look at her. Can y'all see that? Yeah. She's a cutie patootie, right? So what can we say about Miss Oshun? I'm going to go ahead and lose that because I'm having trouble opening that up. But Oshun is the goddess, she teaches us female power, right? So she teaches us female power. Oops, this is what I wanted to do. And boundaries, right? Trying to get on my focus. My focus improved. Okay, there we go. Here's the focus. It's interesting that she is chosen to represent the wands, which is the wood element, which is liver and gallbladder in Chinese medicine. Wood feeds fire. So we're entering into Fire Horse February 17th. And so who is going to be egging on or riding that fire horse is usually the Queen of Wands. When she comes up, she teaches us about boundaries. We've talked a lot about wands as a suit in the tarot, and wands in the tarot are associated with space and time. Space and time. So she establishes territory and space and time, my way or the highway. So now I think we're seeking justice. I think that is what this is. I think that we are tormented by these stories and everything that's coming out about these horrible people that used power in such horrible ways. And I think it has called us all to self-reflect on ways that we ourselves may have misused power. And I think that we're now entering into, look, one person cannot beat the collective power of a nation, right? Or the world. The world is disgusted with Andrew, formerly known as Prince, right? The world is disgusted with King Charles and everybody else that covered it up. The people are disgusted with Trump and every other creepy person that thought it would be fun. I sent you a great torture video. What does that mean, right? Was it all pretend? Or probably not with this crowd. So she comes to establish territory and power, and the power of the people to override those that have misused their power. Remember, she establishes territory, time, and space. My way is the mantra of Oshun. My way or the highway, my way, boom, boom, right? So that is really how I always interpret Oshun. It's my way or the highway. Going to do what I tell you to do, when I tell you to do it, how I tell you to do it. That's Oshun, right? So here would be an image of Oshun. These are the first images we see of this archetype thousands and thousands of years ago, out of Nigeria with the Yoruba people, right? African goddess, Yoruba goddess of love, fresh waters, and fertility. Oshun's compassionate, sensuous nature and her water element energy encourages healing and mothering, harmony, and going with the flow. But she has a dark aspect as well. And that dark aspect is when she is disrespected, right? So the dark aspects of Oshun are when you don't treat Oshun the way that she deserves to be treated. She is associated with the sweet waters, right? So the sweet waters. The salty waters are the goddess Yamaya, and the Hebrew word for that is Yam, which means the sea. So first life comes from the amniotic fluid and the sea is the amniotic fluid of Gaia, who is pregnant with us. But the sweet water is Oshun. And here we have another image of Oshun, the bird, the peacock, the mirror where she looks at her beauty, the yellow dress, the gold and the honey. Western and Central Africa is where she comes from. She was brought to the Americas as into the pantheon that branched the African nations. So the story is that she brings fertility, beauty, the sweet things of life. But when she's disrespected, she can leave and never come back again. She's easily insulted. Treat me right or I am gone. You're going to show me respect and you're going to show women respect. So she is also a witch and the magic of women's power. And you can see that lovely black cat. And that's because Oshun is also in the African tradition, the queen of the witches, the madrega of the household. She's the queen of the household. You show her some damn respect or you're going to be eating crow, right? She will take care of you. And what has happened energetically is that you have disrespected Oshun because she is the mother of all women, the feminine divine. And so when she moves in to take position in the 7th house, you should be nervous. Particularly when you see that the near future is the 5 of Swords. I'm going to take control away from you. Our partnership has come to an end. Now, the opposition to her is karma. Now, the Ifa tells a story in the Yoruba tradition that the male deities, when they came to form the earth, the workers, they came to work and to fight and to make mischief. And when Oshun said, "Can I help? I'd love to help create a beautiful world," they said, "We don't need you, woman. Get back in the house." "Oh, really? You don't need me?" Okay. So Oshun flew up to the moon And she made herself beautiful by gazing at her own reflection, because a lady likes to look good. So Oshun was gazing at her own beauty, looking at the mirror, watching the earth, and nothing grew. The land was barren. And when Oludumare, the god of the gods, came to look at the earth, he said, I gave all these forces to the earth to make the world beautiful, but nothing is growing. Why not? And they said, well, we don't know. And then Oludumare, the god of gods, said, well, where is Oshun, the energy of femininity and fertility that guides women's power? They said, well, we told her we didn't need her. And so she went to go live on the moon. And so Oludumare said, well, you boys, you better go apologize to the women, or you're not going to survive without water, without bees to grow things and the sweet honey and love making and comfort of a home and all the other beautiful things that the feminine divine brings the earth. Y'all better be doing some apologizing. And so that is what they did. The male deities bowed to the power of Oshun. We have sinned against womankind, against the divine feminine. And Oshun said, I will accept your apology, but don't do it again. Because woe be it to the men when you forget where you came from, where you forget the power of the woman, the feminine divine, because there will be consequences for the things that you have done. There will be consequences. So she arises again, and the wheel of fortune churns again, and there will be consequences. Well, the last time a lot of people died, there was drought and famine, and all the gods became powerless under the hand of Oshun. And the remedy was, you better start treating women like people and children like people. They're not toys and playthings. And anytime you decide to create a baby, you better think about what he or she is going to be saying to you 21 years from now when you're having that first beer. What the fuck were you thinking, Mom? What are you going to say to them? What were you thinking, right? All right, so we're having this time, we're entering into the time of the Queen of Wands, and the fights are happening. How many idiots do you think there are, mostly male, that don't have a clue what's happening to them karmically right now? There are forces that exist in the universe. There are forces that exist in the world, and you'd better start paying attention to them. You don't disrespect women. You don't respect mothers. You don't respect women who are seniors, because we are all witches and we all remember. You don't want to get an evil eye from a woman over 40. Trust me. Want to disrespect women over 40? Think you're so clever? Oh no, honey. That's a big, big mistake. You will curse yourself for countless generations when you disrespect a senior woman. Oh yes. You do not want to go there. I'm sorry, I'm having problems with that thing right there. Okay. There we go. We'll raise it up a little bit. All right. And the final outcome for you is war. The metal horse. All right. The metal horse. Violent war. So I think we're going to see possibly an attack on Iran. We're going to see some possible military breaks this week. Yeah, something coming like violent, aggressive winds. This could also be, if it's weather, this is an windy ice storms, like when we had the bomb cyclops thing, snow thing that happened. Oh, we got the Knight of Swords. It's like the bowl in the china shop. It's very destructive. A new contract with Oshun. We need a new contract with women. A new contract is coming here. You guys had your fun. all that stupid crap with Trump and treating women like their property and these BS bloggers that hate women. You're all going down. Andrew Tate, you're all going down. You're all finished. Here comes the fire horse, Knight of Wands. That's in the next 2 weeks. Good luck with that. You pissed her off. I don't think that you're getting it, boys. I don't think you get what's happening here. It's a force in the universe, and you have violated it. And there are a metal horse and then a Knight of Wands moving in, fire horse, after the Queen of Wands shows up. Hell no, I want to take a 2-week vacation. Girl, you do what you got to do. Wheel of Fortune in the House of Opposition. Hello. We warned you. That's all I got to say. Every name of every person that harmed a little kid that was on the episode, you're all going down. Goodbye, Fergie. Goes for women too. If you don't respect women and children, you are finished. Right? So be aware of that. We are entering into the fire horse time. That starts in 2 days. Get your house in order. Remember, first house is the 8 of Swords, feeling restricted. My partnerships are restricting me. 5 of Swords, I got to get control over these partnerships. What's your relationship like with your bank? What's your like with your credit cards? With your family member, everybody. If it's destructive to you, it is going down now in the next 2 weeks. It's pretty intense. Yeah. Okay, so did I have anything else? There was something else I wanted to mention about this. Yeah, look at this new contract, Oshun energy moving in. Karma awaits and judgment cast against the enemy. The goddess fertility in conflict. Comes war. And the fire horse the next 2 weeks. Women have to know that. I don't think that women understand just how much power they possess just by being women. Just turn off the faucet and watch everything dry up. Wow, intense, don't you think? That was pretty intense. I didn't expect that. Whoa. All right, when we get the order, we will blitz away. It's going to be an intense couple of weeks. There's going to be an account and a reckoning. We've talked a lot about that. We ourselves are called to take an account and a reckoning of all of our misdeeds when it came to struggles of power, conflicts with power. Hi, Mark. It's my friend Mark is here. And that we will see the hand of Oshun over the next 2 weeks. It is an energetic, the spirit of Oshun must be a lot of people worshiping Oshun right now because her energy is very strong. And with Oshun comes justice. I think I have something else I wanted to show you on Oshun. See if I can find some information on the dark aspects of Oshun. Yeah. Let me show you this, what's coming, because she's coming with the fire horse. I know, she got pissed. Well, could you blame her? All right, let me show you this, and then we're going to move on to blitzing away. While Oshun is widely celebrated on her feast, destructive wrath, when disrespected, ignored, or heartbroken, Oshun can switch from benevolent to vengeful. Myths describe her destroying crops, causing droughts. Remember, I'm going to take my water, and unleashing terrible floods in her water with her waters. Jealousy and spite. As a deity with human-like emotions, Oshun can be incredibly jealous and spiteful, particularly in matters of love and vanity. The mud and in some traditions, Oshun is not just the beautiful young goddess. She is also associated with the mud at the bottom of the river. the buzzard representing her role in removing decay. Remember, like the fire horse, she burns off the dirt, the mud, the grime, the impurity. And being an old, deaf, and fearsome witch, right? We talked about you better be kind to those old witches because they're channeling this guy. You know, you don't want to get my bad eye on you. Bad stuff happens to people that I'm old, Jewish, and psychic. Be fear. No. Yeah, dangerous consequences of promise. It is considered dangerous to break a promise to Oshun. She is known to hold grudges and expects her devotees to keep their word, which can lead to severe punishment if betrayed. Now, remember, Trump is a child of Oshun. Males can be children of Oshun, and the darker aspects of Oshun is vanity, right? Vanity and ego. So she has a low vibration and she has a high vibration. Her low vibration is Donald Trump. They want to look in the mirror all the time. They want to have gold everywhere, gold hair, gold clothes, gold toilet, gold gun, gold, right? Vanity and ego. It's manifest as extreme vanity and a demand for guys' attention and admiration, right? So what happened was one of her own children, violated the natural order. Does that make sense? And so the loss of beauty myth, we talked about that. Often referred myth tells of a time when Oshun's vanity led her to attempt to fly to the sun. Her feathers were scorched and she lost all her beauty, turned into a haggard figure before she was restored. So that goes back to the curse, the karma. We're going to the karma wheel. So basically that Trump flies too far to the sun, he's going to get taken out. And that karmic wheel they're talking about. So anyone who fell under this deity, who falls under this deity will fall, and he falls under this deity. So the demanding mother, she is a fierce protector of children and women. Remember, she's the protector of the women and children. He was one of her children, and he violated the natural order, so she takes him out, which means she can be relentless towards those who harm her charges. All right, that is your warning for the next couple. I don't think it's not going to go well. If you're a child of Oshun, you need to follow her rules. And Trump has not followed her. So he's off. It's very obvious that he's a child of Oshun. Do you even need it? You don't even need to throw the bones or yeah, it's very obvious who he is a child of. All right, let's go ahead and blitz away. Good to see you here. Let's do it. Musk is Ogun. He's a child of Ogun. You know Ogun? It's a worker. Mm-hmm. Have you seen pictures? I can show you that. Iron Man. Is the Iron Man. Ogun. They like to work. They like to make things, engineer. This is Ogun. Metal. Building things. But temperamental and emotionally unstable and violent. Yeah. Hi, Kelly. Good to see you here. Oh, Sasha Riley testifying? Yeah, I think he's out of the United States. I guess they have him in witness protection. It's coming out that he was part of the human trafficking out of Oklahoma. And the little girl that was raped by Trump, the limo driver, they also were from Oklahoma. So it seemed to be some group that was operating out of that area. God bless him. I keep safe. He's, I think, the second or third boy to come forward now. And I just keep them safe, God, God help the people that hurt children, because Oshun is coming. In the next couple of weeks, you'll see her wrath. I shudder. When I look at those cards, Knight of Swords and a Knight of Wands, oh, holy hell. Well, Knight of Swords is violent. It's metal energy. And that fire horse, man, it's coming right behind. I just don't even want to think about it. I just want to get my own house in order, never abuse power, take responsibility for my actions, because I don't want to be in the middle of what those people are going to be in the middle of. That's for sure. All right, let's see about our questions here. I think Joel has the day off. I know y'all missing our floor director. Oh, I didn't know that, because they were looking for scrap metal and I couldn't figure out what the hell that was about. They were driving around on their bicycles and stealing things the workers had left when I did the Nancy Guthrie case. And evidently the copper tubing, what is it? They sell the copper tubing in new construction to buy meth? Oh my God. It was verified? Yeah, because I got the feed in my ear that the cartel was communicating with the FBI and said it was they didn't know of anybody, none of their people was involved in the kidnapping. You know, they asked people on the street, and it's local. All right. Will Bondi go to prison for her crimes in the I think that it's the worst cover-up in U.S. history. I think that that's true. I think that, I agree with what Massey said. I don't agree with him about life forming at conception. We've got some disagreements about taxation. But on this issue, I think Massey is correct. All right. Let's do it. What is going on with Bondi and this whole Epstein thing? Just do 4 cards. We'll do a blitz. Be sure and like, share, and subscribe if you haven't yet. Ooh. She her argument is that they did hand everything out. I hear people singing. She's having a conflict with the with the FBI. Queen of Pentacles is the FBI, and there's some kind of a fight that has come up about treasure trove. The Empress is the treasure trove that ever overflows. And so in plain words, she's saying it's basically not her fault, or that some retractions happen. Some of this is outside of her control. That's what it looks like. It's a new beginning in the investigation starting. Yeah. You can see death over the FBI, transformation, hopes and fears, active cover-up. And the Hierophant, by the way, is the ethos. The higher ethos of the nation would be like the Constitution. Thieves, I think people are going to flee. I think people are running, because you have the 7 of Swords, which is the thief's card attempting to escape. You also have betrayal. So that tells me that people close to this investigation are going to be sharing information about who did what, when, and where. Yeah. God, she just sounded really nuts. Did anybody see snippets of her in the Congress? She just sounded like... I think that what we're looking at, what I would say, is that we are looking at what will become hearings for impeachment. I think that this is the early probe that will lead to the impeachment. I think that that's what we're witnessing, because they're under oath, and they're lying under oath, and this is all going to be used as evidence against you in an impeachment hearing. So that's where we're headed. And people know that, are jumping ship, and they're beginning to cooperate. Thieves card, people are fleeing. They're trying to escape, anywhere and they can to get away from this, which would explain why so many people quit. They quit because they don't want to be caught in a situation where they could be facing criminal charges in the next administration, and they will be facing criminal charges in the next administration. That's kind of what it looks like. Let me see about the next question here. We're looking at fried chicken recommended. You guys think KFC doesn't taste as good as it used to be? Really? Popeyes is better? I can't decide what. Find a Slim Chickens. I don't think that we have Slim Chickens. Let's see. I'm trying to find another question here. Oh, you're a water tiger? Oh, you're going to be doing great. It's going to be the heat won't be on you, Wendy. You can just sit back and watch. You can just sit by the lake and enjoy the firework. Offer Oshun's children some water and just mid-August there. Yeah, so everybody has a different time. Then there's February. I think in the Santeria it's February. It's Santa de Ora or something is in February. So everybody has a different date. I think it's February 14th, and she's the goddess of love, so people want to worship her during the time of Valentine's Day. It's just whatever your tradition is. Oh yeah, good. Yeah, with the dark aspects, you can be like Donald Trump, where you're just walking around with an orange head, looking for people to, me, because she can be a little selfish. For people who reveal truth about the Epstein clients. Oh, did he? Well, I guess according to his wife, Talulu, she was there. She requested the meeting. So I guess he gets off because he came with his wife, not to I guess just lunch or something she writes murder mystery, Tallulah. She writes crime and murder mystery. She was creating a character based on Epstein. So she wanted to meet him. So, Elon wanted to have a party, evidently, and Tallulah was just morbidly curious. Tallulah sounds like a really nice person, but I don't know. She was working on some kind of a project. All right, sun is coming out over this. Now, remember, Elon got in trouble for trying to force a woman to give him a massage on an airplane. He was on Ambien, so he was not in his right mind. But that's still no excuse. You guys heard about that, right? He took Ambien, fell asleep, was, sort of awake after spending a week working his ass off in Tesla. And then I guess he made a pass at one of the airline people or something. Interesting. You have the truth coming out over the Epstein files. First off, the sun is there, also Archangel Michael. I don't see Elon getting into any trouble here. It doesn't seem to be impacting him. He's not into kids. He's not into orgies either. He's like a 14-year-old. He sees himself as a knight in shining armor. He's looking for his true love. He's like a little kid. Yeah, exposure will come out. Oh, Elon's starting new project with construction. This is probably the perimeter Gaza 2 rebuild, the new Gaza. He's paying for the new Gaza 2 rebuild. So he's involved in heavy construction this year. FBI is busy. Yeah, exposure. He's not going to be implicated. He's too shy to take his clothes off in front of people. He's an incel. He puts up the most silly romantic stuff on Facebook, on X. I think he just grew up listening to a lot of fairy tales. He puts up fairy tale stuff. It's weird, He would be one of the people that wants Snow White. That thing about Snow White, that would probably be this guy. Yeah. You guys heard about that, right? Let's see. Okay, so Rose Blue says that Trump is listed 1 million times in the file. God only 4,000 times in the Bible. Whoa. I didn't know it was 1 million. I thought it was 38,000, but, even once is, you wonder. Deepak Chopra. So He was trying to be the guru even when he got caught with his pants down. They were asking him at the airport, how does it feel now that you've been exposed? He's like, but it is more important how you feel. How you feel. What is your emotion, right? No, we want to know how you feel about hanging out with pedophiles. But how do you feel about this information? Talk about you. You're the one. But I will put it on you as the guru, right? Like, how do you feel about the fact that the guru is a pedophile? You know, like, what is your issue? Mind your own business. You must have problems having a problem with the fact that the guru is a pedophile. Like, I mean, like, what the hell are you doing? God is a construct, but pretty girls, that is the only thing that is real. All right, let's see what happens to him. I refuse to apologize. I did nothing wrong. I am such a good person. Buy my book. I am narcissist. You understand? I am narcissist. That is what you need to know about me. As I never liked him. I always got a creepy feeling from him. So 4 of Cups, I refuse to apologize. I refuse to explain myself. You know, he's a narcy. His opposition, Knight of Cups. People want him to make a deal or to come and talk to the feds. Knight of Cups is to seduce. That's his opposition. Why don't you come talk to us a little? We want to have a little conversation about you. Nope, I don't want to talk about it. You have to talk about how you feel. How do you feel? Well, gee, like it has anything to do with us. Hopes and fears, the evidence. 3 of Pentacles is a construction, right? So people are constructing something. Can we charge him? If it happened in New York, there's no statute of limitations. I refuse to call. You can't get me to do anything. They're trying to see if they can charge him. It's a fast moving. It's fast. You know, 8 of Wands is like quick. So it's a fast moving story. Knight of Cups, why don't you come? You know, anything he says on air. Well, this is what I did, right? Louis C.K. made that mistake, right? His lawyer said, don't talk about this. Oh, you want me to talk about it? Well, I like to take my clothes off in front of unsuspecting reporters and masturbate. You do? And how many times have you done this? Come on. I just thought, why not? Hey, let it all hang out, right? And so every time he talked about it, it was documented as evidence against him in lawsuits, civil suits, criminal. So this guy has been told to shut his mouth. 4 of Cups is when you're not giving up anything. Knight of Cups is when they offer you the cup. The seducer, no, thank you. No, come on. No, thank you. No, thank you. But there's growing evidence. 3 of Pentacles, like I said, is construction. It's a real estate card. It has to do with a blueprint when you're actually building something. 8 of Wands is strife and for things to happen really quickly. Ace of Swords. I think that the truth that's going to come out about, I think that there are truths that are going to come out about Deepak Chopra that are beyond this. Stories of betrayal, infidelity, economic betrayal. There is a side to this person that's going to be exposed that go beyond Epstein. I think that his whole business operation is going to be under question. Did he possibly molest former patients? You know, is there people are sniffing around looking for things. Who did he hurt? People are even willing to pay money to get inside information. He's in very deep trouble. The next 6 months, there's a 6 of Wands victory card over an issue of strife. I think he's going to not be charged. I think, you know, he will not be charged, but his career is probably ruined. You know? All right. Well, now I'm going. Oh, I know where I can go get pho. I know a pho place. I do know a pho place. I'm going to go get pho. No. But he's investing in the new Gaza. Maybe he and his family will have a place in Gaza. I don't know. Do I have that picture of you guys? I think I showed it to you guys. Oh, here it is. Let me show this to you. It's not inside Gaza, so it doesn't take any of the land away from the Gazan people. That's why we like that. It's just additional space. That area is called no man's land, that space that he's building on, because it's a 2-mile stretch of land between Israel and Gaza. But if you had security, you could build oasis peace zones and then invite Gazans to come live in those zones, starting local businesses. That's what they're going to do. So it's like an educational opportunity. A lot of different countries are investing, but boy, he gobbled up most of it. You can see the U.S. gobbled up the American data safe haven systems. That's all gobbled up by U.S. investment, and the rest is Elon. But no, it doesn't touch Gaza. It's outside of Gaza. That's the area they're building that, so they don't have to deal with Hamas, because Hamas isn't there. Yeah, I think it's neat. I think that got debunked. I think that turned out to be fake. Well, there was an email where he said, not according to Epstein, according to an email where he said, "You're welcomed anytime." He said, "I want to go to a really crazy party," because he had been working nonstop. He didn't give Tallulah a Christmas present. Then he went out and picked a bunch of flowers, and he spent an hour in a field picking wild flowers and gave her and said, here's my Christmas present. And then he said, "I'm bringing Tallulah," because Tallulah said she wanted to meet him. She wanted to meet the freak. So I haven't read her book. I'm not really into true crime, but evidently she's a good writer. Yeah, a lot of people think that he's a Russian asset. That is true. Congress just saw unredacted files in a SCIF. Remember, they added up the count. Oh, interesting. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know what more is going to come out. I know the next couple of weeks are going to be explosive because I've seen those cards. Okay, let's do one more. Yeah, Bondi is she's on thin ice. All right, let's pray for Sasha Riley that he stays safe, along with everyone that's in U.S. protection. That's part of this. Yeah, he's gone dark. I heard he already he was in closed door hearings already. I guess he did a really good job. Was it last week or 2 weeks ago? Supposedly he was already in closed door hearings. He's somewhere out. He was taken out of the U.S., but he's not allowed to say where. God, what a nightmare. I wonder, is he back in the U.S.? Let's see. Hope he's okay. Pray for that child. After everything that happened, he still wound up getting an honorable discharge and serving. He served our country valiantly. You know, he was a war-decorated soldier. After everything they did to his mental health. All right, Sasha, how you doing? I've been completely betrayed by the people who were supposed to protect me in this case. They're trying to get me not to testify. They're trying to get me to go away. They're trying to just bury it. They're trying to warn me if I talk, nothing's going to come of it. They're trying to block me from talking. I want to talk. The Democrats would like to talk to you, Sasha, even if the FBI is steamrolling you and block. I've been betrayed by everybody. Ten of Swords. The multiple times I said I wanted to talk, and then they put me on hold. Same with the other victims. Epstein all raised their hands. Remember, we're waiting to talk. You could talk. Ten of Swords. They all betrayed me. Said they were going to help. They didn't do anything. They didn't follow up. They sat for 2 hours in Oklahoma giving a deposition. Nothing came of it. Nobody will listen to him. Fighting over this issue. They're afraid of what he's going to say. He has to get out of there. Just go. We're not going to let you talk. We're not going to let you. So they're trying to bury it and get him to leave. No one's going to take you seriously. No one's going to believe you. The best thing for you to do at this point is to just go. Go. You've been betrayed. The sun is coming out whether you try and force me to be quiet or not. Well, why did you talk to? I did talk to the cops. I talked to the cops in Oklahoma. I gave a report, multiple reports. I was in child protective services. I was in multiple police reports. Oh, why didn't you go to how many times more? He shouldn't be pounding, begging for the frickin' FBI to take his report. But that's what it looks like. There's a new beginning starting in this investigation around spring of this year. But he's disgusted with the feds because the feds don't even give a damn. They just drop the case. Inverted Ace of Swords, you will lose. Walk away, you will lose. They will do everything in their power to dismantle him. Pray hard for Sasha Riley because these cards are terrible. He committed the ultimate crime. He opened his mouth, and they're going to shut every man that's working on this case who's been hired to suppress this data, and woman, is going to throw it in the trash. They've been throwing it in the trash since this guy's been going to the police for help. Dozens of times he's screamed for help. Come on, that ain't real. He's got medical reports. He's got discharge papers. He's got witnesses. They simply do not want to accept it because it's too ugly. So they just keep tossing it in the trash, tossing it in the trash. Why did it get tossed in the trash? Because it was a reality we couldn't accept or didn't want to accept. So we just keep throwing it in the trash and saying, no data, no data, no, la, 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 la. It's not real. It's not real. It's not real. And we must pray very, very hard for this individual that he remains safe and that this get brought to the forefront. Yeah. The truth will come out. But everybody that's suppressed Sasha, everybody that has tried to suppress his information, the sun is over it. But so is betrayal and him being, get out of here. You better leave town, move to Thailand, boy, right? It's that kind of an energy. And an ace of swords is the ace of spades, right? It's a spade, it's a sword. And when it's in the ace of spades is inverted, that's really bad. I think his life is in danger. I mean, I think that, yeah. So we just have to send him prayers and hope that he gets the justice he deserves. Yeah. Yeah, we can't even get the medical records released on Trump. Well, that'll be our last question, is releasing the medical records on Trump. I think that would say a lot. If he's had a major injury like the one that that's what Sasha Riley said, I can prove it. Release his record. No, we don't need to do that. We don't. Yes, you do. Release his medical records. I know I injured him, right? That's what it's a direct quote. I know I hurt him bad. Really, There's got to be a medical report, right? Great. So when we see Trump's real medical report, which they've been hiding, we should be able to find this stuff. So what's the problem? If it's not true, you should be able to, that Trump's a walking medical disaster, you should be okay showing us all the medical records. Right? Okay. Trump's medical records, will they be released? We'll do one more question, then we'll call it a day. Oof, yes. He got the same card as Riley. Yes. People are going to betray him. It's going to be horrible. He's not going to be protected. Trump's medical records are going to get leaked. Somebody in a position of power, somebody hidden, wants this nightmare to end. A celebration. Yay! Somebody's going to leak the real medical records on Trump. Look at that. Look at his base cards. Awful, awful, awful. By the way, he has some serious senility stuff coming in. 7 of Cups. Well, you have to release the records. If he's so senile that he's not in his right mind, that becomes a national security threat. And that's probably the main reason you have this kind of ending death. This is like the FBI or some hidden person. And then this is, but look at his cards. Look at this. But this is senility. So they could be mental health, 7 of Cups. They could be releasing records on Trump's mental health, I would be thinking, with those types of cards. The tent pole, yeah. Wow. God, pray for Sasha. My God, what a brave young man. All right, I want to thank you guys all for hanging with me. If you're still trying to get in for a tarot reading with me, or you need to see me for a medical consult as a medical intuitive and have your Vedic chart done up, then I offer that service through telehealth and telephone readings. You can find all that information booking through Booksy below this video. All right, that's it for me. Be kind to all so that all will be kind to you too. God bless. Peace out. We'll see you next time. Thanks, you guys. Bye.